Once again, welcome to honoring our service folks here in the Black Hills. And again, we have so many veterans that we just love. By we, I mean New Center One. We just love to honor because these folks have dedicated a large portion of their lives to the service of our country. And with me is Terrie Thurston on my left and Chuck Trumbull on my right, and we're going to be talking to these folks real soon. Terrie, once again, thank you for your service, and thank you for doing this, because we don't have the opportunity to interview ladies who served our country, and you certainly did for over 20 years, I understand.
Yes. I was born in southeastern Montana on the railroad line. My mother was a telegrapher on the Crow Indian Reservation, and she and I lived there at the end of World War II. I graduated from school, high school in Billings, and went on to college at Montana State University in Bozeman. At any rate, after college, it was the height of the Vietnam War. It was 1968, and I was...
And the draft was in effect too, but just not for women though,
No,
right?
not for women.
Okay.
But I was very concerned because I saw all of these, what I will call Eastern dudes.
Yeah.
But they were rioting and
protesting
and all of that at any rate. And where I was from, that was not something you did.
What year was this now?
1968.
1968, okay.
And at any rate, and so I decided that, okay, I don't believe that, and so I decided to go in the service, and I went in the Army. They had just opened the transportation MOS for women,
okay.
And so I enlisted for that.
The transportation, that means driving those big...
Well, it means a lot of things, but you drive trucks.
And a mechanic, you also...
You
have to change the oil, you had to get underneath it.
Yes, you could, you know, depending on, yeah.
So yes. You got dirty. Terrie, you got dirty during this job, right?
Well, there's some of that, yes. I didn't do that full time, but yes, there was you know, a vehicle or 2 or 6 around to get dirty with, so yes.
So, basic training, where'd you have basic
Fort
training?
McClellan, Alabama.
Fort McClellan, Alabama, and then your specialty training was?
Fort Eustis, Virginia. And then I was transferred to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I was assigned to 18th Airborne Corps, and my job was actually to take care of the 7th and 5th Special Forces soldiers who were coming back injured and making sure that their whole baggage and their stuff got back to them.
Coming back from Vietnam.
Coming back from Vietnam, especially the hurt ones, and that was all the time. At any rate, they would lose their stuff a lot of times because they'd be sent to a hospital that their stuff didn't arrive, and so at any rate, that was my job to do that, was to find their stuff.
So by stuff, you're talking about the stuff that they carried to Vietnam, and then when if they got wounded or hurt in some way, they were shipped back, and then their stuff.
Anything they had in the Special Forces camps, there were either 6 or 12 Americans, and so they didn't necessarily always get their belongings back.
And it's important.
Absolutely.
I want to tell the folks out there, it is important because, you know, we call it stuff, but it's their belongings, it's their letters from home, those kinds of things.
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. They were in my office trying to find a place to live, trying to find a way to take care of their families until the strike was over.
And then from there, after you said you served a year and a half?
Year and a half, and then I was moved to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And I was
That's an artillery, isn't it?
Yes. And I served in the Army Emergency Relief Office. Another lady and I did all of the Army Emergency Relief for everybody that came into Fort Sill. The biggest thing about that was the draft was on. Guys would come in. They'd just gotten married. Mm-hmm. They came to basic training. And they had nothing what are they going to do with their wives? They had $0 on them. And we were Red Cross, basically, of the Army. And at any rate, so we were housing them and figuring out what their wives were going to do. And you deal with 17 and 18 and 19-year-old men and women who have never been away from home, and they're on a post that nothing is provided for them. And they don't know how to make the Army work. And so if you don't have a soul or somebody to look after you,
Sure.
and call and say, I'm at a hotel that I can't afford tonight, you know, what can you do? At any rate, and so you run all over trying to just help them adjust.
Did you ever drive the big trucks, Terry?
Yes,
Okay.
the old ones that you, the old
You had
ones.
to turn the. You did
No,
that.
actually, you didn't have to turn anything, but the seats didn't adjust.
Oh my goodness! So
At
you had
any rate, so
a
I'm.
telephone book. Let me tell you, you sat on a telephone
No,
book.
but I sat on pillows. I sat on pillows on the thing and behind me so that I could actually reach the gear.
How many gears? Do you remember?
Well, there are 18.
18 years.
There are 18 trucks, the old Army trucks, not the new ones.
The old ones.
The old ones.
And you had to fight that clutch, did you?
Yes. And in fact, my son-in-law didn't think that I could drive this truck that had a hard clutch. And my daughter laughed at him and said, my mother was in the Army, don't worry.
Don't mess
Don't
with
worry.
it. Very divisive
Yes,
war, very
time.
divisive time.
My first husband and I got many eggs and other things thrown at us because you were required to wear your uniform.
But you still spent 22 years serving our country.
Absolutely. Like I said, I felt I should.
Good for you, Terry.
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you very much for taking the time and telling your story to these folks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.